My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Terrifier. Now, I watched this movie for the first time a few years ago, and I hated it. I had zero intention of ever watching it again, but the sequel just came out in the States. I have zero idea when it's coming out in Canada, and I'm surprisingly hearing great things about it. I'm hearing it's bigger, bloodier, and better in every sense, and my curiosity got the better of me, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll give the sequel a chance, and since I'll review the sequel, I'll go back and rewatch and review the first movie before then. And I was also curious if maybe I'd like this movie better on this rewatch. And after watching it again, I can definitively say no. Nope, nope, nope. This movie has a huge fan base surrounding it. Lots of people love it and Art the Clown, and for the life of me, I don't understand why. It is just. If all you want in a movie is brutal kills and people getting hacked to bits and people dying in the most graphic of ways, then this movie will make you happy. But if you want anything else, like tension or atmosphere or story or good characters or emotion or creativity or a well realized vision or good performances or an interesting setting or just anything else, then this movie is not for you. It's just not. But let's begin talking about what I did like. And there's one scene early on that takes place at a diner, which I find to be genuinely unnerving and very uncomfortable. And that's where my positives end. I know lots of people love Art the Clown. I already said that, but I just repeated myself. But, anyways, and I don't love him. I don't even like him. I see potential in him, but he's just not good in this movie. He is killing people in brutal ways, and he's doing it in a very playful manner. And it's not like that's something new or anything, but I just don't like how there don't seem to be any rules surrounding him. He's a clown with a bunch of weapons. He can't be killed. He'll pull out a gun if needed, and it's just like, what are the rules? What is this character like? What's his shtick? Is his only shtick that he looks like a clown? Is that it? Because it's just not enough. Like, Freddy Krueger, he kills people in their dreams. Michael Myers wears that white mask and just follows you around and kills you with a knife. He doesn't use a gun. Uh, Jason's actually someone who did get changed in the sixth movie, and for the better, if you ask me. Zombie Jason is better than not Zombie Jason. Chucky. I like Chucky when he's in the doll and he's killing people and pretending that he's not. When it's all chaos out there and he can possess all these different people and there's all these different dolls, that's when I lose interest, and that's kind of actually what I get from Art. He's just all over the place, and I would have liked some sort of just something about him to stand out more. And I see potential. Maybe I like him better in the sequel, but for this first movie, he just didn't do it for me. Everything else, like everything else, is awful. The rest of the characters are so stupid and terribly written, and the acting is atrocious across the board. Like, you don't care about a single character. I couldn't tell you about a single character. You've got these two main girls who get killed off within the first half hour, and then they keep finding new characters to bring into the movie to get them killed off in brutal ways until they run out of characters and the movie ends. That's it. They're just there to get killed. And don't get me wrong, every character in any slasher movie is basically there to get killed. But if you watch a movie like Friday the 13th 4, the final chapter, not a great movie, but every character in that movie has some sort of personality that at least allows them to stand out. And there's other movies where you genuinely care for the characters that if anything happens to them, you actually feel the weight of it. And you just get none of that here. It just feels like death for the sake of it. And it definitely doesn't help that this movie is as one note as it comes. It takes place in this one location. It's just characters coming into that one location, getting killed, and it's just a very stagnant, repetitive, boring movie. It's based off a short film, and it works better like that. If this movie was 10 minutes long, I'd be like, okay, fine. It was a decent short film. But for an hour and 20-minute long movie, I'm just like, end already. I'm tired of this. I've seen everything you have to offer me, and we're not even a third into it. Just stop. And the movie just never gets better. By the end, I'm just, please end already. And yes, this movie, like I said, it's very brutal. It's very bloody. There's one graphic kill in particular, which is not for the faint of heart. But none of that really works for me. And it makes you think, why do I love the brutality and blood in some movies, but not others? And I'm going to use the Saw movies to talk about this, because I actually really like the first Saw movie. That movie, that first one, is not as bloody as people remember, but I also really like the second movie, and that movie is bloody. But the thing is that there's some sort of creativity behind it, and there's also a plot twist which is highly memorable and allows the movie to stand out. And they also create conflict between the characters in really effective ways. So, despite the fact that it's bloody and brutal, there's other things to it. Saw 3 and 4 and 5, I hate. Especially Saw 4. Saw 4 is one of the worst movies ever made. That twist is absolutely ridiculous. And what I hate about those movies is that it just feels like blood for the sake of it. Oh, one person's trying to get out of these traps and they just walk into a room, someone dies a brutal death, and on to the next. And I should be, oh my goodness, this is so gross and disturbing, but I'm just like, this is lazy and ineffective. You're not setting up any of these characters, you're not making me kill for them, you're just relying on cheap and lazy tricks to try to make me react to it. And it just doesn't work. Saw 6, very bloody, very disturbing, but the movie's also trying to explore other ideas. Saw 7 sucks, yeah. Is that the final chapter? Yeah, that's the final chapter. Yeah, that one sucks. Yeah, that one's not scary. And then Jigsaw, it's not like the most messed up movie or anything. It's trying to do some things, but it fails, but it doesn't fall into the category. And then I do like Spiral, especially because Chris Walk brings lots of energy to it. My point is, blood and brutality should be the cherry on top. I say that all the time, but it shouldn't be what you rely your movie on. You watch a movie like Martyrs, a 2008 French film, which, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's great. But it's messed up. It's heavily messed up. But at least there's genuine atmosphere and tension in that movie, and it does feel like it's a movie. It's not just a cheap excuse to show the most messed up kills. You've got another movie like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. The Dream Master particularly has one of the most disturbing death scenes I've ever seen. But at least there's creativity behind it. It's not just, oh, let me saw this girl in half. No, there's actually lots of creativity and imagination put into that movie, and it's effective in very haunting ways. You've got a movie like The Fly, which isn't bloody, but it's very gross and disgusting, but there's a very effective escalation of that movie, and the practical effects allowed it to stand out. You talk about another movie like Hellraiser, there's a vision behind that movie, the visuals look absolutely incredible, and there's a point to it. My point is, I could go on and on and on about why I love brutality and blood in some movies and not others, but in other movies, it's the cherry on top. There's great visuals, there's imagination, there's creativity. The kills are properly built up to with characters that we care about. And in this movie, it's just going from one character getting a brutal death to the next character getting a brutal death to the next character getting a brutal death, and it's just ineffective and does absolutely nothing for me. The entire, you think about how a movie would be pitched, and the only thing I can think about this movie that allows it to stand out, that somebody would pitch about this movie to, would be it's got lots of brutal kills and that's it. But when there's just nothing else, it feels like a lazy shtick and I really hate it. And yeah, I don't know, I don't really got much else to say. It doesn't look or feel like an expensive movie, but it's still watchable. I'm not gonna It's not like my videos, even just reviewing movies, are the highest of quality. So I understand sometimes you've got to work within a budget, and they do a fine enough job with that. Um, the stupidity of some people takes me off, like the fact that someone just watched her best friend get sawed in half in very graphic detail, and then she stabs him with a knife, and instead of making sure he's dead or taking another knife and stabbing him again, she just leaves him. And then, yeah, I don't know, there's just not much else to this movie. You can't really discuss the characters because there's none there. You can't really discuss the story or the themes because they're not there. There's no imagination or creativity. All it's got is Art the Clown killing people in graphic detail and then riding a tricycle, honking a horn. And it's just never scary, it's never intense, except for that one scene early on. It's never, except for that one time it is, so not never, but you know what I mean. It's never funny, it's never entertaining, it's just blatant torture porn and nothing else. And that to me is just not enjoyable. I absolutely hate this movie. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 1 out of 10. I really do hope the sequel is better than this one because, once again, I've heard great things about the sequel from people who don't even care about this first movie. So we'll see. I'm not going to get my hopes too far up, but we'll see. If Art the Clown is great in that sequel, it would be great to have another horror icon because, like, in the year 2022, we don't have another Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or Chucky or Pinhead. The closest we've gotten this past decade is The Nun, Annabelle, the lipstick faced demon in the Bride in Black from Insidious, the Babadook, maybe? Not really. Yeah, we need some new horror icons, so I'm hoping for the best for the sequel. But what do you think of Terrifier? Is there a movie more Terrifier than this one? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin, out.